record.
All right.
All right, we're good. We're good. So again, guys, like I said, Clint's not going to make it today, but we have Jen back, who's our female voice. All right, and
She's way better than Clint, anyways.
yeah, for sure. I busted
Great.
Clint's chops for like 2 days. I'm like, Clint, you haven't said a word in 3 episodes, you know? So, but you know,
Except shit on the swimming pool. That was it.
That was it.
right, for
There's
sure.
no pool. There's no pool in the gym.
Yeah, I loved Castro. Castro was like, all right, you know, like, what do you want me to say? But we got Neil today, okay, which is awesome. Oh, we lost Neil. I think we lost Neil.
I'm right here.
Yeah, we're all working with this too as well. So, you know, first and foremost, Neil, you know, like, what's going on? How's the scene by you?
You know what? I mean, I'm getting used to it now. I mean, it's been over a month since I've been inside, and we've been closed for over a month. So, you know, it's different, but I mean, I have my gym in my garage, so I'm all right.
You still training pretty hard?
Oh, hell no. I'm training other people, but not myself. No. That, no, not at all.
So, Neil, are you not allowed to go to your gym, or are you just choosing not to?
Well, the thing is, if we go to our gym and you're in your facility and you're doing anything, well, if you have people there, you can get a $5,000 fine and you can get your business license suspended. So I haven't been there.
Neil, where?
Yeah, so Silicon Valley, San Jose. So it's Santa Clara County. It's been hit pretty tough. Out up north, everyone is required to wear masks. If you don't, you'll get a misdemeanor, or you can get they have all these rules coming out. So we haven't been authorized to do so, but all the other counties around us have.
Wow. Yeah, just to give you a contrast to that. So I'm down in San Diego, Neil, and it's not anywhere near as strict.
Really?
Well, it's strict, but this is the thing. It's strict in the sense that I can't work, but what pisses me off is that there's a lot of people who are working who shouldn't be working because we're supposed to be social distancing, and they're not following those guidelines. So what I mean by that is, oh, I have a buddy over here, so I'm going to go cut this buddy's hair. Or, oh, I have a client over here, I'm going to go train that client in person. When we're supposed to be keeping distance. That's why I'm keeping my distance from everyone. I haven't seen any of my clients really in person, besides the fact that I lent all my weights out weeks ago, you know? So besides that, I mean, you know.
Yeah. So down here, it's, you know, everything's kind of the same except for, I haven't heard anything about fines around $5,000 or anything like that for us in San Diego.
Yeah, I had some buddies of mine who went out to the trail and got $500 tickets trying to buy a mountain bike out over in the trail. So they're getting kind of strict over here with stuff. So, and to be honest with you, I really believe the coronavirus was out here way before they're announcing it now. I think it was here. Well, they already said it was here December, January in the Bay Area. It's been here. So it's been here for a while. So I wouldn't, you know, so for the numbers to be where they are, I mean, I honestly don't even watch the news. So I don't even know what the hell's being, I don't even know what's said or what they're saying about it. I just know what's going on and what I see here, and just, you know, there's still a lot of social distancing and all that.
Yeah. I got tested on Friday. And I'll have results on Wednesday to see if I had it back in January.
The antibody test? Or
Antibody test?
So did you have it? You had it back in January?
Oh, I got real sick in January, and I was doing a lot of traveling. And the chairman of my board lives up in the Bay Area, and I have a bunch of people up there too. And so I was up there a bunch. I was out in Chicago a bunch, like major hubs.
You were in Jersey?
Yeah, I was in Jersey. That's right.
You got me sick, Bob. Fucking thanks, dude. I had it too. Fucking, you know, right after you left.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if I had it.
I think I'm the one who started it.
I wouldn't be surprised if I didn't have it out in January too, because I was all through Asia. I was traveling all through Asia during that time, and I got really sick, and it was like 3 weeks. I was like done for a while, and I haven't gotten the test yet. Will I get it eventually? I just don't want to go around those testing centers right now. I'll just keep my distance.
Yeah.
Yes. So, one of the things that we've been talking about, Neil and Jen for that matter, is, the Zoom thing, the Zoom thing really kind of got us together to do this, and we're all masters, so, we're fortunate to have Castro on yesterday. Last week, which was awesome. We got some really cool questions and whatnot as far as like the masters community, but, I'm kind of interested, and these guys brought it up last time. Neil, what's your background before you even got into CrossFit? Just looking up some of the numbers and statistics. Your first year to the games was what, 2010?
Yep, 2010.
So what were you doing before that?
If I would have known about it, well, I found out about it too late in 2009, or I would have been there as well. But before that, I was trying to be a football player, bro. Trying to be a football player.
So what's that background? Where did you play? I don't really know.
You start off young, go through the ranks, go through the college ranks, then you try, graduate from college, and then try to go pro, try to go professional with the Niners. Wasn't successful. Went to the Saber Cats. That was okay. It just wasn't. It wasn't. At that time, I fell out of love with sports, or out of love with football, in the sense of playing football. So I started coaching it, and when I was coaching it, I started. I was a trainer, and being a trainer, I thought I developed all these different types of programs. What I found out, the program that I thought I developed was CrossFit, and I didn't develop it. But I had a version of what I did that was somewhat similar to CrossFit. So that's why when I was able to transition into CrossFit, it was automatic, because I was already doing that style of training. I called it hybrid training at the time, and I did it, and it was a form of training that I did for football. And so it's actually funny, because lately I've been fooling around with a lot of those old pieces and stuff like that, because it's solid foundational stuff, and I haven't busted it out in years. And since I've been in my garage and got to go through all my old workout logs and stuff, I got to bust a lot of that stuff out. So yeah, so football was my specialty, and then CrossFit came right after.
Where did you start up in CrossFit? Where was it all? Where did it all happen for you? What gym?
So CrossFit. So CrossFit started in my garage.
Yeah, so kind of like Jeb. Jeb kind of reminisced about that.
So what happened is, where I was living, I had a garage that was about 500 square feet, and I built that thing out, and I trained in that bad boy every day. And so I started in the garage, and pretty much I found out about it. So literally February 2009, I found out from my buddy, his name is Jacoble. I found out, he told me, he's all, hey, you have to try this new thing. It's like the best. I found out, blah, 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 just kept going on. I'm like, who are you working out with? He's all, I don't know, some guy named Jason. And I'm like, where? Like in some storage unit out over in Santa Clara. And I'm like, huh? I had no idea. So we did one workout, and it was Linda, 3 bars of death. And right after that, I was hooked. I was like, what the hell is this? I was like, this is even better. I mean, this is exactly, if there's people who are programming like this, let me figure, I want to know. So that same day, I looked on CrossFit, CrossFit.com, saw, looked up all the CrossFit stuff. That same day, I signed up for the seminar, which was a week and a half away. Went to that seminar. Long story short, go into the seminar with bronchitis. I don't know. I got it from my daughter. And so I'm at the seminar with bronchitis, and it was the level 1. And it was the old school level 1, where Freddie Camacho was one of the flow master. Dave Castro was there. Jolie Gentry, Miranda Oldroyd. I mean, everybody. Like when I mean everybody, the original, like, everyone. And then Jason was there. A lot of those guys were interning to be HQ staff at that time. So I'm there, and we start working out. And like I said, I was sick as hell. And then we're doing all these workouts. So the old seminars back in the day, you literally worked out 1, 2, 3 times, and then you came back and did it again. You worked out all day with lectures. So we're working out, and I started realizing, like in my class, there's like 6 games athletes that year who were taking that class, and I had no idea who they were, but we're all working out. And you know, you're out there working out, you want to know who has the fastest time. What I realized is that me and Jason were the ones who were competing back and forth, and we were beating everyone else. And I think Jordan Warren was there. Like I said, Pat Barber. There's a few other guys. I forgot exactly who, like some of the like the 2009 CrossFit guys were. But yeah, that's how it all started, man.
All right.
And after that, you just started getting into it, like
Yeah.
realized it was what you wanted to do.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what I wanted to do. So after that, well, pretty much after I that level 1 in February, I was just, I forgot something came up where where I saw something. I just went to the CrossFit site and I saw, oh, there's a CrossFit Games. And I'm like, is it too late to join this thing? I was like, what the hell? I started seeing all these sectionals and all this stuff. And I'm like, oh, those guys right there, I remember them. They're in our class, in my class. And I remember, going up against them. And I was like, if those guys are making it, I can make it. And so that year I realized that I couldn't make it to sectionals. I think back during that time, you didn't compete for sectionals. You signed up and went to sectionals. So when you signed, it's like before they even had the open and all that stuff. So you just signed up, you went to sectionals, and that's all the regions. I think the next year you had to qualify for sectionals. So the following year you had to qualify. The year before you didn't. And so in 2010 you had to qualify. So that's when I went to the games, ran into Castro and Greg Glassman. And when I ran into them, I pretty much told them, that, I had a goal, and, I said I'll see him at the games next year. And Glassman told me I believe he will. And then went to the games that following year and put my head down and, made a lot of mistakes in the early phase of my games training and competition. But, in the end, I kind of figured it out down the road, but it took some years to figure out a lot of that stuff. And really, learning how to truly train yourself and listen to yourself and really be disciplined with it. That's the biggest thing. But, I put in so many years of training, and like I said, doing that with CrossFit and coming in, I'm getting like all this feedback, so I'm talking.
Yeah,
I hear myself.
Yeah.
So yeah, so pretty much after competing, 6 years, got surgery on my foot. So the 2015 games, I had to pull out of the games. I got stung by a stingray in practice. So when we were practicing on this paddle board, I got stung by a stingray in my right foot. And when I got stung by a stingray, that shit was no joke, man. My leg was fucked up for like 3 weeks. Excuse my language. I apologize. But I literally remember that year in the games going to the hospital. I was at the hospital all day the day before, like literally at the hospital. When everyone else got to relax and just chill out the whole night, I was at the hospital getting all these shots and all that. So the next day I go and compete, and then I compete for 2 days. And then on the third day, the leg where I got hit by the stingray is the same leg I tore my adductor. So when I tore my adductor, got the MRI in the stadium. So when we're there, I got the MRI. It confirmed that I had a tear. And the doctor said, I told him, I knew that year was going to be my last year competing. I wasn't going to compete anymore. I knew right then and there. I was just going for 6. And the reason why I go for 6 is like, just like I'm a big time Jordan fan. So, you know, Jordan had 6. So I was like, fuck it, compete for 6 years. That's it. And so that's why I did the 6 thing. And so that year I got hurt. And so I did the sprint event. I couldn't do the sprint. I just walked out there, and I knew that that was my goodbye to it. And then I had no vision of coming back to CrossFit at all. And then I got hit up by Castro and said, hey, we have a division coming out, and, you know, I want you to do it, you know, the 35 to 39. And that's when I got ready, did the 35 to 39. And then I came back for the 40 because of Sean Ramirez. He called me out, man.
So listen,
We
so
thank
you
you.
know,
We thank you for that.
yeah. So we talked to Castro. We had some interesting things to say, and you know, and we talked about with Sean Ramirez as well. You know, it's funny because I think it kind of comes together in a sense. He said that, you know, he could have potentially seen you as a bad guy in the early years of, you know, CrossFit, you know, because we were saying, you know, I don't think there's maybe not enough shit talking. And what actually brought you out of like retirement, so to speak, to come out and, you know, to kind of smack us around a little bit that year was the shit talking, like the shit talk that Ramirez, and we don't really have the story down 100%. There was, you know, I think we're pretty close to the story. So, you know, clarify it for us, Neil. And, you know, because
the public wants to know.
Yeah, the public wants to know.
Well, I mean, you know, I heard just from a lot of different people that I talked to at the games. They just told me, I'm getting that feedback again.
Yeah.
So basically when I was there, a lot of people I conversed with, they were just talking about how, you know, how Sean acted and how he treated people during the years that he was competing in that division. And so I took it upon myself to humble him because, like I said, after the first event, he felt like he was like the ultimate warrior, that he won the CrossFit Games after that first event. I think that obstacle course thing, you know, and then and there, I was like, you know, it's good to have a celebration the whole 9 yards, but I mean, when I've competed in the open division with with those guys, you know, you knew when to celebrate like that, and you knew when not to celebrate like that, you know. So pretty much, the biggest thing with me is that I got called out. He called me out on Facebook about the games and saying, you know, hey, I'm the champion. You know, who are you, basically? And so that's exactly what I did. Is I put my head down. And I'm going to tell you, that was probably that year out of all the years that I've ever trained. One out of all the years. So this is what a lot of people don't know about me when I was training to compete in the CrossFit Games in the open division. In the open, I was called a high school and a nightclub. So with those three things, I was just like completely busy 24/7, and then trying to train for the CrossFit Games. That was like, for all those years, like I said, it was never completely CrossFit. So anytime I compete in the games, I never really, it's like, I put my head down and did CrossFit, but it wasn't always CrossFit. And then also I worked for HQ too. So I ended up working for CrossFit HQ. So I was juggling 4 responsibilities until I met my wife, my wife now. You know, that last year when my 40 that year when I got into that 40 bracket was probably the best year of training I've ever had in my life, in the sense of the focus, the discipline, the drive, the just everything. All those years of all my training just came together that year because I knew that was it. And so I put it all together that year, and then I just knew that, you know, all the experience that I learned through all those, you know, troubling times and good times, the whole 9 yards, set me up for that. But back to, I just basically gave him a taste of his own medicine. So whenever he was, because a lot of times it was always about him, and you know, of course we're there to, you know, compete, but at the same time, I wanted to make sure that, you know, the spectators make lasting memories with a lot of you guys out on the floor, because I knew that, you know, we aren't guaranteed tomorrow. So I wanted to just enjoy every minute of it.
Hey, Neil, can you just repeat that last part? Because I think it was really important and you were kind of cutting up a little bit. The very end.
So I keep
Yeah,
hearing all the
you keep
feedback.
breaking up
Sorry
there,
about that.
Neil.
So, yeah. Here, let me see. What about now? Am I all right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So far.
So basically, okay, so basically when I was competing, what was important to me at the CrossFit Games was enjoying every moment of it, especially appreciating the fans, the spectators, but not only
It's so tough to try to make out what you're saying too, you know, because
All I
It's-
hear is F.
also
Ramirez,
working out
and then
with
it goes.
you know, all the other master athletes. I keep getting this. Turn these off and see if I can change this. Hold on, let me see.
I don't know if it's your earbuds, maybe. You muted yourself. There you go.
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that a lot better?
Yeah.
Is that
Well,
better?
it's-
All right. Yeah. So basically, the most important part. So let me just cut it short. The most important part of competing at the CrossFit Games is we wanted to make it an event. And when I competed in Masters, what I told Dave Castro is I wanted to help bring some light to the Masters division. So when I did the 35 to 39, and 40 to 45, or 40 to 44, I told him I wanted to help bring, you know, light to that division and bring, you know, some more credibility to it, meaning I wanted to get more spotlight on the athletes who are competing in that division, especially some of the people who are older than me. Because for someone who's older than me, who's doing this, and I'm talking in their 60s and killing it, that I take my hat off to, because that is remarkable. That's just something that, you know, I'm 40 and I'm just thinking 60. You know, so that was one of the major reasons why, like I said, I was competing. But the biggest thing being at the games is all about the fans. Not only that, being able to compete with all my other fellow masters out there and sharing the common love. And the best part about the Masters versus the Open division is that everyone in the Masters is cool and just welcoming and inviting, except for one person that we ran into, but we dealt with that weekend. But you know, it's just I mean, there's times where people, like during games where I'd go, people would try to sabotage you. In the Masters, I never felt like, you know, everyone, it was like you wanted to see the next man do well. And you wanted, even though you wanted to do well, you cheered for the next man. They say that open division, but it's not, bro. I've competed this shit. If you're there to share a common love, and you know, at the end of the day, everyone celebrates each other at the same way. At least that's what I felt. I can be wrong. Level felt probably one of the best in the sense of competition, in the spirit of how the games are supposed to be and how it's supposed to be.
Right. And Jen, I got a question for you. You know,
Okay.
Neil brought up a good point. You know, I mean, he did bring some, you know, star power. You know, I mean, like, you know, do you think Briggs did that for you guys? The one year she, you know, like she kind of, do you think she brought like more fans to see some of your events? You know, were you in that division that year?
Yeah. Well, no, she was, I think I aged up, but
Oh, you had just
she was-
aged up then?
I think so, because it was just last year, right?
No, yeah.
No, I think it was not. It was 2 years ago, right?
Sam Briggs was 2 years?
Yeah, she hurt her elbow or something like that.
2 years ago. 2 years ago.
2 years ago. Okay. I remember her being there. But yeah, I think for sure it did to a certain extent. I mean, you know, it's not like people are packing it in the horse barn to watch the Masters compete in general. But when she was there for sure, although, you know, I think there was a lot of people that had a little bit of intimidation as well. Oh, that's what it was. She's not in my division. I was trying to picture, but yeah. So anyway, but she was very down to earth. So I think that for people to come in and bring a little bit of stardom and that sort of thing, people wanted to come see, like people that I knew, they're like, oh, I want to make sure I catch Sam Briggs and then I'll come watch you after. You know, I mean, it was that kind of stuff. But then she definitely mingled in with the Masters very nicely. I felt like she was sitting right next to me and some other girls that I already knew, and, you know, just didn't have any, you know, better than thou sort of attitude or anything like that at all. She mingled with us very nicely, even though, like you said, I mean, there was some stardom that followed her no matter what.
And she didn't win either. She didn't even take first.
Yeah,
You know, I don't know if she was. Yeah, again, I think maybe, yeah, you know, so I think there's a lot of star power females, especially in the 35 and 40-year-old divisions.
Oh,
maybe
yeah,
even,
the younger.
Maybe even more than the guys, quite frankly, especially when, you know, Neil, we spoke to Dave about, like, you know, why don't people like, you know, Dan Bailey and Briggs, you know, like, why don't they do the Masters, you know? So, you know, I think some star power would definitely help because, you know,
so sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. But
no,
I remember, well, I just remember someone communicating with Josh, and he said he would never do Masters. That's what at least I heard through the grapevine from someone, but it was never from his mouth, so I don't know. And then Sam Briggs did it that one year, but if she could keep qualifying as an individual in the Open, why not do the Open?
Yeah, for sure. I'm just, you know, from the standpoint of, you know, trying to, like you said, you know, you were building, help to, you know, bring some star power to the division, because I mean, I'm just as impressed with the 60-year-olds and the 50-year-olds and all those people too. I mean, you know, I'm hoping to make it.
The thing is, though, a lot of people, and I think unless you're already a Masters athlete, a lot of people are not impressed. Or, you know, maybe they say they are, but still, I think that a lot of those, I think there's a lot of interest in the 35-year-old division, maybe a little bit in the 40, because that used to be the first division. But I feel like maybe it's just the older that I'm getting, but I feel like the higher the divisions go, kind of the less interest there is in general for those divisions or for people to watch those divisions, unless there's somebody who's been at the games 10 times, you know, that sort of thing.
Right. Well, you are true. You are true when it comes to that. The biggest thing is the new fan who comes into CrossFit. The new fan who comes into CrossFit sees Matt Frazier and all them. They don't see any of the Masters, and so they're not aware. But yet, all the people who've been in the games or people who've been fans of the CrossFit Games for years are aware and do make that time. So what I found is, like, the past 3 years, 4 years, ever since they went over to, like, actually when it switched over to Madison, actually, when everything switched over to Madison, a lot of the spotlight went right to the younger athletes, because I remember there used to always be Masters talks during regional time, the whole 9 yards. They used to have hype shows and build-ups, and that kind of went to the wayside a little bit when the games headed out of California to Madison.
Yeah.
I was watching, so I watched the 17, 18 games during the week because I'm bored. And I do, and I don't know what the difference was, but it's 17 and 18, like the stands are there's way more people in the stands to watch the Masters than there was in 19. And I don't know, and I know that's the year they switched to only 10 people, you know what I mean? And I can't help but think that had a big impact on how many fans there were.
Well, didn't they say that they had more fans that showed up this year than any other year in Madison?
Overall, I think so, yeah.
But so that's what they said. But by them saying it, and you don't see it, then how?
Yeah. I don't know. I just, like I said, I was watching the videos from 18 and 17 just because, and I noticed that there was a lot of people in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Well, Jeb, you had a big showing. You know, you helped our division out that first year. I mean, when you and Steve had that snatch off, you know, when you guys were snatching, even though you didn't realize that Sorvino was in the like far right snatching like crazy, you know. But you know, to me,
you know that Steve took first and I took second. So
right, I understand. But I'm saying to me, that was probably maybe the most exciting environment, you know, at the games at least, because I've been to Wadapalooza and there's been some good moments there. You know, like that was a really good electric type. I mean, I was really close to you guys too, in all fairness, you know, so I was able to.
You were putting the clips on the bar and you ran out of time. That was it.
Yeah. But, you know,
no, hey, Justin, that'll forever go down as one of my all-time top 3 moments at the CrossFit Games for me. I mean, that you're right. That was electric. Like, that was insane. You know,
I mean, that place was packed. You had so many. I mean, obviously, too. I think you were the only person from Wisconsin. You were like you told me. I think you told me you did a couple of interviews and some TV spots and stuff like that. You know,
a rock star.
Yeah, you were.
Because it was in Wisconsin, that was part of my job, like to promote us, not only the CrossFit Games, but to promote the Masters in every way possible. And, you know, being it was 25, 30 minutes from my house, you know what I mean? So I felt like that was part of what I needed to do. I you know, to be honest, like I wasn't super comfortable doing, I don't know how many TV interviews you guys have done, but I'm not good at them. Right? Like I've talked to Neil about this. Like it's not as easy as those people make it look. You know what I mean? I hate watching myself back on TV because I always sound like an idiot. I don't say what exactly I want to say, you know. But I kept doing them because I want the fans in Wisconsin to know, like, you know, how hard it is and what we got to go through in order to get to the games. You know what I mean? And I did feel like, and I remember telling Meg, you know, in 19, you know, when I took that year off, I felt like it was in a weird way, a little bit my fault that there wasn't a lot of fans at the CrossFit Games for the Masters because I didn't do my job in promoting it as much as I should have because I took the year off. You know what I mean?
You know, I'd say, Deb, that like, you know, just looking at it from my perspective, right? So 19 was obviously my first time there. It was a combination of less star power, right? There wasn't a Neil. Sam was going individual. You know, probably the biggest name was, you know, Nick Aranker and I think maybe Becca Voigt, right? I can't remember if she did it or not.
Becca was in the
Becca Voigt.
35.
Yeah, 35.
But the females had a ton last year. You had Anna Tobias, Cheryl Blasco, I think. I mean, there was a stacked 35-year-old female division.
Well, that's
right.
39 division stacked. You know, then you didn't do it, so there's no Wisconsin, right? Then you cut it down to 10 athletes. And then I think throw on top of that, the programming sucked, man. Like those events were boring as shit to do, and they were definitely boring as shit to watch, right? Rowing bar-based to start it off, like that was stupid, man.
Wasn't there? So I have a question. You guys think that the games are going? So remember the year that they said, "Oh, we're going to have the Masters out of Rome, or we're going to have the CrossFit athletes out of Romans." They only brought the Open division, not the Masters. Yeah. I think they're going to have the Masters online. Watch, they're going to have the Masters online, and then they're going to have the CrossFit Games for individuals only. I bet you that's what's going to happen. Because there's, I want to tell you right now, I'm literally 45 minutes from Aromas. There, with how lockdown is here in California, how are they going to have a how?
Neil, if they do, if you're wrong, okay, can I stay at your place? 15 minutes away. I'll rent a car. I won't even bother you. You won't even know I'm there. All right, you got that garage. You said you got a garage. That's perfect. Perfect. But you know what, though? I mean,
What about this? What about this, Neil? What if they do separate weekends? right?
Yeah,
Like
I agree.
Oh,
one weekend.
you could do that. Well, so here's the thing. They're still not allowing public gatherings around here, and they aren't. I don't know how it is where you guys are. I just know how it is here, and it's just the shit is locked down. So I want to see how the hell they pull that off.
But he
There's still a
announced
lot
it
of time for it to change, realistically, though.
True,
I mean,
Jen, I
I'm
agree.
in Jacksonville, Florida, and they just opened the beaches for exercise last weekend. So the beaches are open in the morning and the evenings for exercise. You're just not allowed to like loiter around and that sort of thing. I don't know. I mean, it's still a fairly long ways away. I don't know what.
So here's the biggest difference with Jacksonville. The biggest difference with Jacksonville is that you aren't, and I'm not taking anything away. We get a lot of people traveling from other countries, from China, especially here. So a lot of people come here. So the contact and the spread, just like New York, goes way faster. That's why we're locked down longer than a lot of people, because we get all the people from China constantly, because the computer hub is right here. So that's the same thing with New York. You have the stock market and all that. So a lot of those areas are getting hit really hard, and they're locking them down longer because of what's happening.
Yeah, so Neil, my only thing to that is that if they're gonna do it, like you said, if those restrictions are there, then they won't be able to do the open athletes either. Like they're not gonna let anybody do it. See, I
don't even think the open athletes would go if they have these restrictions. But I'll be very surprised if they. I'd be very surprised, man, because how many plugs. And I'm not trying to take anything away. With all the things that they pulled away, come on, regionals and all that stuff, you have to understand. I mean, trust me, I'd love to see that happen in Aromas, but I know how Aromas is. When I was a judge, the first year I ever volunteered, I was a judge at Aromas, and then the next year I competed after that. But I've been to Aromas numerous times, worked there numerous times. that would be, to bring 1,000. That would be pretty, because you would have 1,000 with teams and with all the players. If they did 2 separate weekends, you could do it. But if they did one weekend, over 1,000 athletes, saying those 1,000 athletes have coaches with them or some type of one person, not spectators. But think about that.
Yeah, I could see them getting rid of maybe like the teens, because they have you're going to have a guardian with them, maybe. But again, I agree. They cut out a lot of stuff. Why wouldn't they cut out us and do that? But, I do think I think the multiple weekends work. I think level 1 staff is not doing anything. They're not doing certification. So there's your judges and volunteers. They're already on the payroll. You're probably, again, we're hopeful.
Do you think CrossFit's paying even when this lockdown's happening?
Yeah, I have no idea. They're collecting affiliate fees, right, Jeb?
Yep, just paid mine.
Oh, trust me, they collected mine too. Trust me, I know. They just collected mine.
So just throwing it around there, guys. Mike, I'll start off with you too. Why do you think that Masters, other than the lack of star power? Because my whole argument is, most of the people that are in your gym, they're older people, they're not these younger kids, granted, everybody likes to see the best people, but, Mike, in your opinion, why do you think that people don't care about us? Why do you think that is?
I mean, Dave touched on it last week. So, the individuals on the show, which is 100% true. But that being said, the coverage, and I understand they have no media coverage now, no staff. Without the cover, the Masters would be entertaining if you just covered it. So back when we had footage in 18, 17, 15. 15, they even did a documentary on the Masters at the games. It was a 4-part, or if you never saw that, that was for the 2015. They followed them around and did put it up on their website. I think it's a 4-part series on the Masters from the 2015 games. It's just, if content's out there, people be it's just not, it's not easy to, search and find oh, look, everybody's capable. Everybody on this call is capable, and people will be eye-opening, oh, wow, wow, that person's in their 40s or 50s or 60s, and they're hitting a ring muscle up, or Dave Hippensteel. You watch him do muscle ups. Like, it's just that right now there's no bandwidth for coverage. So, and I do respect the individuals. Obviously, we kind of model ourselves after them. But if there was coverage, I think people would. We just got to get the eyeballs back on it.
Yeah, Steve.
No, I agree with what Mike is saying. I think, the visibility is just not there. Typically the fans that are watching us at the games are, family members that you brought that came to watch you and visit and cheer everyone else on. But yeah, because there's no spotlight at all right now. And I always think about it from a business perspective. I mean, did CrossFit do the right thing by excluding us? Listen, if they're not drawing a fan base to come watch us, why would they continue to provide media coverage? I think the whole thing, when you look at the whole CrossFit conglomerate, it's a business model. I mean, they're trying to make money by running these things. And if you're going to make cuts, you're just going to go down the list and say, all right, who's not really making us as much profit as we need to? And they're the ones that are going to get cut. I think this year would be telling, right? If they get the open athletes to California again, it's going to be tough. Another reason to think, will they ever bring Masters back? I don't know. I've always been very skeptical about the whole thing because it is a business model. They're there to make money. I get it's about health. I get it's about older people and getting off the couch and moving. Yes, it's changed my life. It's changed all of our lives who are on this call right now. But it's a business, and Greg Glassman has to take care of that business. That's kind of my philosophy of it. And the Masters aren't a priority. It's just the way it is.
Neil, what's your thoughts? I've seen a couple of cool videos you've been making with some gray hair and some jug handles. I mean, I don't know if is that encouraging our division, or is it?
No, the jug method was just
That's
that
great.
was just out of shits and giggles. That was just fun. That was just fun because it's like, well, CrossFit was right. We had to resort to lifting sandbags and jugs and shit. They came out with it, and look at what people are doing currently at their house right now. I have clients who are lifting fucking jugs and pasta jars and stuff. So they are right in that sense. But when we made that video, it was just to have fun with it, man. It was just a fun video. It was just to have fun. It was a Fit-A commercial, so it was just a fun little video. But what I wanted to talk about with the games, when they cut the Masters from 20 to 10, and then they expanded the open division field, this is going off of what what Kern and what Swistak was talking about. There is, the next step is taking everyone away. I hope that doesn't happen, but when you take it from 20 to 10, think about it. When you only have 10 athletes, the leaderboarding is very minimal shifting, because once one person takes the lead, there's going to be that top ride, those top ride that just ride it out. Now, when you have a division of 20, it mixes it up a little bit more. If you have a division of 30, then it mixes it up more, but I know the Masters will never open up 30 people. But for the 20, I think that if they did the 20, there's a better mix, and I think you'll get a better competition with 20 versus 10. I was looking at the 10 mix. I just thought that 20 is better than when you do 10. And as for the media coverage, that's the thing. So the year that I won it, I actually was only me and Anna Tobias were the only Masters athletes that were in the media coverage booth. And we're with Frazier, Rich Frowning, all that stuff, because I've done a ton of those interviews. And I know, Jeb, you don't like them. Me, it ain't no thing but a chicken wing. You know what I'm saying? It's like I've been doing them since college, so I've done them since high school. But when I was there and I sat there, and then Dave said, I was watching everything, and I was watching where all the questions were directed. What were they asking? How were they asking? And then when they had me and Anna up there, there are some questions directed towards us, but a large majority were to the open division. And so right then and there just solidified where a lot of the media attention is. Now, if, like we were just talking about earlier, or like the gentleman we were talking about earlier, if they could find some way to spotlight a little bit more of your Masters athletes, meaning spotlight them a little bit more on the Box Rocks and all those other channels that they do the CrossFit stuff on, that's what's going to give more attention and bring more spotlight and encourage more fans to enjoy it and like it. Because I believe a Masters athlete can do it. Because if you look at the Survivor and all that, some of them have had Masters athletes dominate, and they're like one of the most popular people in the world. So I just think that they just have the media coverage and who is directing their media coverage that can give the spotlight and actually really enhance that division if they wanted to. But you need resources, and that's the thing. I don't think that CrossFit doesn't want to put out the resources. So
Jen, you've been to the games how many times?
5.
So what do you think? What do you think the Masters is missing? Are they missing the same thing that maybe Castro says, that maybe we need a little bit more shit talking, maybe we need a little bit more what can we do to spice this up a little bit?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know if it's the shit talking or like we talked about last week, certainly people are pretty welcoming and nice and all that kind of stuff in general. I think though that unless you have something huge like what Neil, went through with his win that year, I don't think that, like, if I start shit talking Janet Black a whole bunch and she starts shit talking me, even if it's in jest, I don't think it's really going to do anything. You know what I mean? So
Right.
I don't, just shit talking alone, I don't think that'll really do anything. I mean, some of the things. So here's something that's maybe silly, and maybe this is just the female thing, but maybe 2 or 3 years ago, they gave all the Masters women like terrible, disgusting biker shorts instead of booty shorts. So I think it's like the perception of what CrossFit thinks of us. Like, I think it has to change somewhere else. Like, literally, they gave us shorts that like came up to our belly button and I could pull them down halfway down my thighs. Like, they were hideous. So we all like rolled and tucked and folded down and all that to make them into booty shorts. And we're like, we're not dead, for God's sakes. I mean, they could give us a pair of little white booty shorts like they give all the other women, but no, we got like nasty old biker shorts instead. And I think that some of it is like that perception of what they think we are to begin with.
Right.
I don't know.
Bob, you're pretty opinionated. We know that, and you're from Jersey, so you got that all going for you. All right, and you brought up something to Dave last week about the other group you're hooked up with, the Masters Fitness Collective. Do you think it's really just going to take some group, all right, to just maybe, again, I don't know what the finances to things like this are, but the same way like the Buttery Boys do fun stuff for, the individuals. Do you think that's what we're missing? Are we missing some sort of outlet, some sort of speaking voice?
Yeah, I mean, it'll help, right? At least having some kind of coverage. And, I was late to the party with the Masters Fitness Collective. Like, they invited me to join really so they could cover Legends last year, right? So, like, we had a live stream of Legends going. They did like a whole documentary around it, and their plan this year going into the Open was to kind of do the same thing that the Buttery Boys did, like a road, into the games this year. It was like a road to the games. And so they still want to do that, assuming that we do have a games and it's not online. But I would throw something else out there too, that is something that CrossFit could control and also would probably be better logistically for them. And it goes back to the shit programming, right? Like, why have us do different events? Let's do the same events as the younger, right? I mean, then that way you kind of, you keep everything set up and you just flow it through. those events are just so much more entertaining to watch than the shit that they had us do, right? And maybe we don't do all 13 of them. Maybe we only do, 9 of them or whatever. But I think that would be, it would be more enjoyable to the casual fan for them to watch us do the same events that the pros did. Because while sure, Fraser's going to beat the shit out of all of us on all of those events, some of those we can hang with those guys, and that's just the reality of it. Maybe that's me being overly egotistical, but I mean, fuck, you put a heavy barbell in my hand and some rings, I'll take on anybody.
You made me speechless, Bob. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I thought you were buffering.
Yeah. I'll use that as a thing next time. I must have froze up. I don't know what happened. Again, we're all hopeful that the games happen. Obviously, I don't think they're at the point where they're going to phase it out. But I just think CrossFit's decided to just say, hey, you know what? We don't want to pay to cover any of this stuff anymore. I mean, even the individuals, they're not even covering really, I mean, they have really other outlets kind of taking it over. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think of what Steve said. I'm happy for the opportunity. I know it's only 10. I agree with Neil in the sense that, look, put yourself in my shoes last year. It was like an uphill battle to kind of try to catch somebody above me, because of not so many workouts and not that big of a field, Now, in hindsight, that could even hurt me in some of the workouts, I mean, maybe there would have been a bigger gap between, the workouts that I did not perform well in. But maybe there would have been a bigger gap for the ones that I did, I mean, who knows, how that all kind of, plays itself out. I mean, we all said it on our first episode. We didn't think there was going to be a games this year. We just didn't see how it could come out. And now Castro and CrossFit puts out a post that says, hey, we're doing it in Aromas. And now we're hopeful, or that something's going to happen. I mean, listen, I want to go to the games and I want to compete because I see friends and enjoy it all. But I also have a business too, I mean, I don't know when we're opening, I mean, Jeb, you were saying you want to talk about something once we got up and running on the recording and stuff as far as like opening up, our state, Kern, you're in the same boat as me, and Steve, I would imagine you're in the same boat as me.
Hey, Justin, before we go on, I'd like to say a couple things about the media and stuff like that.
Yeah, for sure.
I think one of the things that I think really sucks, and I know people don't do it on purpose, but as soon as it was announced that the games were going to Aromas, the first question out of my friends and members and everybody that knew me was like, oh, are they going to include the Masters? And that sucks to me. That sucks that it's even a question that people have to ask. You know what I mean? Like, I think it should just be, we qualified for the games. Like, it should just be like, yeah, we get to go. You know what I mean? Instead, every single person that heard that, their first question back to me was, oh, does that include the Masters? And I started getting, like pissed off about it. It's like, and I kept saying, well, it didn't say it didn't, right? It didn't say no Masters, But going back to what you guys all covered, and I think in 17 and 18, like I said, the fact that it wasn't that I was this great athlete going to the games. I was the only person from Wisconsin, but the media, I was on TV and I was in the newspapers, and I think that's proof right there that if we just had some sort of coverage, and that's why there was that many people in the stands, and and last year there wasn't, and I wish there would be somebody out there that would just do it, and going off of what Bob said, remember what Dave said, like, he doesn't write those events. He writes them, he puts them out there, but it's us. We're the ones that make those events great, right? And I think you hit it right on the head, Bob. Like, there's shit events. We can only do so much. You know what I mean? Like, who wants to watch you guys run with a rucksack for however many miles you guys ran. Like
Nobody.
nobody, you know. So he
Navy
did.
SEALs.
Yeah. My point too is, aren't the individual athletes competing at the same exact time the masters athletes are out there? So, if you're a fan,
Logistics.
you're going to migrate over to the individual Coliseum area wherever they're competing, and guess what? The barn or wherever the hell we compete in gets no coverage. So at one point they even talked about, hey, we'll get the masters athletes to come in and kind of do an intermission sort of workout. I don't know if you remember that was thrown out.
That's why I thought they were cutting to 10, so you could kind of be like the in between heats. So it's like the people don't have to leave their seats. The individuals run through, and then here comes the masters. They're going to do the same or similar workout, and that's going to provide the individuals rest, and then the individuals slide right back in. That's what I thought initially was going to, when they cut to 10.
Like the
That's like
halftime
the
show.
NFL halftime Pop Warner show.
Yeah, like the punt, kick, and pass.
That's it.
Does anyone
Here comes
know what
the
I'm talking
punt, kick,
about?
and pass.
Halftime where the kids go
Like the
out
frisbee
and they play real
dogs,
quick.
frisbee dogs at the football
Terrible.
show.
Yeah, for sure.
No. During games, they'll bring a football team and two teams will play like real quick, and it's like I would say no. I'd turn that shit down in a second. That's
It's almost a gimmick.
No.
Yep.
Right.
That's
I didn't say I liked it. I just said that there was, because the events were happening at the same time. I mean, if you're a fan, where are you going?
Yeah, see, I actually think
We already are.
what Bob said, is that I just, you have to spotlight the athletes, because I mean, there's interesting characters, I mean, like, I think if you talk to some of the athletes, you'd realize that, like, I mean, hey, Neil's got a great story, Steve Swishstack's got a great story. He's a former USA weightlifter, I mean, everybody has a story, like you watch these shows like American Idol, and they always do these backstories about them. Like, I think people would be interested if there was a platform. We have no platform. I mean, like, honestly, right now, this is like the biggest master platform outside of the Masters Collective and maybe the Masters movement. Do you know of anything else? I mean, that's to me, that's it. We just don't have any exposure. No one is learning about any of us. No one is getting an opportunity to interact with us in a sense. I don't think that's happening. I think we're more relatable to the regular CrossFitter, because you can't relate to Rich Froning and these, Froning's older now, but like, it's tough to relate to these guys, I mean, you see regular members like us in the gym, these high-end competitors, they're not taking class. Jeb, do you take class?
Well, I do from time to time, actually. Now
I take class.
Yeah, I think people can relate to you because they can see you work out, and for them, I don't know. I don't think we have a platform. That's part of the idea of doing this, quite frankly, to get something out there to learn about us, because, I mean,
once they got to know us, what's there not to love?
Yeah, I know. I mean, come on. I mean, Jeb, you're super sexy. You could be like you take your shirt off and you got your green eyes or blue eyes, whatever it is, I mean, you got Swishstack's got, that sexy haircut, I mean, Bob is outspoken, and, Clint's a weirdo, I mean, like, everybody has like this, kind of crazy shit going on. I think we're all super interesting, I mean, again, I think I'm fairly interesting, and I'm interested in people that are interesting too. So, I mean, I think we all have a level of interest. Obviously, we're all really good at the sport. I just think we need to try to turn people onto it. I think that's the only case. And Jeb, I think you hit it on the head. It does suck to even have to think like, hey, are they going to do Masters? Because I got the same text messages. Hey, does this mean you? And I'm like, I don't even have a fucking answer. I'm like, I don't know.
And technically, we're the ones who have. I mean, we haven't gotten the invites yet, I guess, but we've already qualified. We've done our sanctionals, essentially. There's still a lot of people who haven't, so we should be the sure things.
Exactly.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. If you guys do get the opportunity to experience the Romus and compete there, it's pretty awesome. I mean, I hope that they do. I hope that happens. I hope that whatever they say that they're going to do, that they follow through and do it for every category, because it's an experience there for sure. It's different.
Yeah. I mean, as a CrossFit athlete, like that to me would be like a dream come true. You know what I mean?
Agreed.
You know, to go compete, to go there, number one, to go there, but to have the game.
Well, you already know you're going to run the hill. That's number one. No matter what, you're going to run the hill. Everyone runs the hill, no matter what, when you go to a Romans. And that hill, when you look at it, you're like, oh, that's not bad. But then once you hit it, you're like, damn. Because then it goes down, and then the hill behind it is even higher. And they don't have a trail for the hill behind it. You have to make your own trail. And Dave will do that to you. He'll just have markers, and you have to make your own trail. And I'll tell you, so the year 2009, when they ran that Romish trail, the 6 mile trail, whatever the hell that trail was, whatever it was, I ran the trail right afterwards because I was a judge. I ran the trail. I got the worst case of poison oak. They didn't tell you how many people at the games that year got poison oak because there's so much of it back there.
Makes for a fun weekend.
Yeah, bro.
Like
I'm telling you, you guys will love it. You guys will love it.
All of this bullshit would be worth it if we got a chance to go to a Romus. Like,
hell yeah.
It would be just an unbelievable experience as a CrossFit athlete, especially as a master, to be like, you know, fuck, I competed at the game. You know?
Right.
Yeah.
And
like
like I
sacred
said,
ground.
Justin, like this will be a once, you know, they're never going to do this again. This year is, no matter what happens, it's going to be different, right? Like
Right.
this is going to be a year they always talk about, 2020, the year of, you know, the pandemic and all that stuff, and they switched the games to Romans. Like, please just include us.
Yeah.
Right.
You know.
Well, not that, try to keeping this thing to right around an hour, I mean, obviously we're still closed. I know some places are opening, Florida, you're opening up beaches. My dad's down in South Carolina, Jeb, I don't know what the scene is by you. I know me, Mike, and Swishstack are pretty much in the same boat. It sounds like, Neil, you're in the same boat like we are, We're right out. I'm right outside New Jersey. We're in a New Jersey, New York, Philadelphia, Connecticut coalition. Nobody's doing anything unless they all say they're going to do it. So. But Jeb, you're in an interesting spot. Like what's going on over by you? What are they talking about?
On Thursday night, they sent out a thing. The governor, they pushed it. Everybody's closed until May 26th.
May 26th. We heard May 11th. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. No, Wisconsin.
Wait. When are you?
May 26th.
So we're talking to some friends, and they work for CIA and all that, and they're saying, so right now our date is pushed back to May 15th, but they're saying this is going to get pushed they aren't saying it yet, but it will come out that this is going to get pushed back until June here.
Yeah. I mean, so I'll be honest, the reason I didn't want to talk about it earlier, because I just wanted to tell you guys how I felt. Like when it came out, like it hit me hard. There's days that I'm struggling, right? Like I've been staying home, doing my part. Like Neil was talking about earlier, I go check on the gym from time to time, and I see people doing their thing, like nothing's going on, and then we get hit with this, and it was like, it hit me hard, because like you said, Justin, this is my life. This is how I feed my family, and we're hanging in there, and the Zoom classes are going good, but on Friday mornings we have our staff meeting, and we're sitting there and we're like, hey, we just got pushed back over over a month, another 40 days or whatever it is. And I'm like, we got to, make sure we're motivating, motivating people, this and that. I'm like, so let's hear some ideas of what we can do. And everybody, I have 7, 8 people on staff, and they all were just like silent. You know what I mean? Like, we're all just like, fuck, are you kidding me? Like, that's a long time, and I don't know. It's tough right now. It's tough on me. It's tough, like I'm not one of those people that can just sit at home and do nothing. You know what I mean? It's Meg's, to be honest with you, I referred to myself as a caged animal on Friday and I need to get out. And Meg was kind of laughing at me. And then she realized like I was being serious, like I need to do something,
Just for your mental state.
Yeah, and
it's not even for your body, just for your mentally, just to distance yourself from this fucking shadiness.
Okay. Hey, Jeb, can I share with you some of the stuff that so I've worked so lately I've had a lot of people, a lot of clients with a lot of mental health issues, like because of this pandemic, a lot of stuff going on. And a couple of different things, and this is just some of the things that I talked about, because this is some of the things that I started doing myself to try to control, because you know me, I get raw crazy, I just will flare up. And especially, this is my life. Without the gym, I have nothing. But the biggest thing that I learned during this pandemic, I need to be the best leader that I can possibly be for my gym. I need to lead my community in ways that I never thought I ever was going to ever do. And that's exactly what I'm trying to focus all my time and attention to each and every day, is leading my people in the right direction. And so when I find out that they have some type of mental health or something like that, I personally call them, and I call them up and I see what they're doing and how they're doing. And I give them strategies. The strategies that I've been doing for myself is I have to go out and I have to walk my dogs. I literally will walk my dogs. Like if something's flaring up, I'll just go for a 20-minute, 30-minute walk. And literally on that 30-minute walk, I'll put on some meditation music or something that is calming and blocks out all the nonsense or noise, or I just walk in silence. But the reason why I do that is because, yes, I am caged up and I have to find some type of release. I don't train like I used to, so I can't beat myself down like that and stuff like that. So I have to find other avenues. Another thing that I have my clients do is I start having them write, journal. You'll be so surprised if you journal. I just look back at what I journaled on March 16th till now. Those little things, those little small victories, I looked at where my mental health was then and compared to where it's now. I was more devastated then than I am now. At least now I know that there's still hope in that. I know that I lead the ship. And yes, the gym is closed. We may lose people. We have lost people. But you want to know something? We also signed up a bunch of people. We just signed up a bunch of people doing remote stuff. So what I realize is that when one opportunity closes, another one opens. All you have to do is find that other opportunity and then put all your focus into that. And that's all I'm doing, is instead of dwelling on what I can't control that. What I can control is how I wake up, what I eat, how I train, how I communicate with people, who I communicate with. All I can control is what I can control. And that's what I focus on now. Because before, it was always worrying about everything else. I can't worry about that. All I can worry about is, guess what? How can I pay next month's rent for the gym? Okay. Okay, how do I do that? Okay, I need this many members. If I don't have that many members, how many more can I get remote? And things of that sort. So that's what I'm trying to do, is I'm just trying to just block out all the noise and focus on what I can control. And, like I said, I don't know if that's helpful, but I know me and you, we relate. And a lot of times I was looking at what you're drinking on the phone and look at what I was drinking. That's what I'm saying. I haven't even talked to this guy. And you see what I'm saying? It's like it's like a brother from another mother. But I'm just saying, those are some of the things that I did, bro.
Cool.
Yeah, Jen, do you see that they're going to make some more changes for you for the good? What's the word by you?
Do you say Jen or Jeb?
Jen. I'm sorry, Jen.
It's okay. So far, yes, they did announce that all schools are closed till the end of the year. So there's no change for that. But like, for example, my daughter's a senior and they announced yesterday that they're going to have a senior graduation. They're just going to do it outside where there's social distancing is acceptable and that sort of thing. So I would say that the mood in general, people are becoming more hopeful that things are opening. And then there's some people that are saying, well, I'm just worried they're going to do it too soon. Like, I'm still working. So I'm a physical therapist and I'm seeing patients in the office still. So our company has deemed, I mean, basically based on what Homeland Security has put out, that physical therapy is considered essential because it's the infrastructure of the healthcare system. So if people can't come to PT, they're going to flood the ERs, all that kind of stuff. So we're staying open. I mean, I run 11 clinics and we're down by probably 25 to 50% volume. The clinic that I treat at is inside the CrossFit gym where I train, and we're down a solid 50% there. But I'm still seeing people, you know, coming in and talking to people and getting new patients. And I would say, you know, in general, people, I would say, are getting pretty hopeful. Like, hey, I think we're starting to turn a corner. Did you hear the beaches are open? Let's just be careful and not, you know, fuck it up. Kind of thing.
Bob, what's your story?
I kind of want to shift gears a tiny bit here, man, and just talk about how fucked up our society is that they deem liquor stores essential services and gyms aren't, right?
Right.
It's fucked up, man. Like, you know, the reason why they've deemed liquor stores essential services is for mental health. When you think about a gym, right, the endorphins that you get from working out are better for your mental health than any fucking, you know, any booze or anything that you could ever put in your body chemically, right? So I got all torqued up about that today. I don't know why. I guess I need to start doing some of Neil's meditation. Start getting all, you know.
Scream into a pillow. If you scream into a pillow, it feels so good. It really does.
Hey, you know what? There's a. I know this might sound crazy. Just go sit in your car and just fucking yell, man. Literally yell. You'll be surprised. Just yell. Let it out. You'll be surprised.
I sent these guys a video of me driving around. It was raining down here a couple of weeks ago, like crazy. And I sent these guys a video of me driving in my truck through the puddles back and forth. What I've been fucking doing with my day, man.
So, but Bob, are you any different than Neil? Because
San Diego's a little different than Northern California, because Northern California is a lot more like New York City, man. It's way more.
It's a huge hub.
Yeah, it's a big international hub. San Diego is kind of big and spread out, more like Jacksonville. But so you don't. There's not as many cases down here. It's not as widespread, but we still kind of have all the same restrictions, you know. But it's tough to imagine us having to go until June until we get a little bit. Man, it just doesn't. To me, it just doesn't make any sense down here at least.
Right.
But
so, last question I have, because I don't want to run too long. We're like a hour, 15 minutes here, but you guys reach out to your landlords. You know, I mean, are any of them working with you? Are you receiving any aid? I mean, you know, from my perspective, and my landlord sent me the bill yesterday, so I pretty much know where his head's at. You know, I am going to call him personally and just talk to him, but. With that said, you know, what are you guys doing to prepare? Like, what's the move for you?
I have a quick question. Did you write your letter? Did you write a letter and send a letter to your landlord when all this stuff happened?
We reached out via a letter from just asking him, like, hey, is there? Basically, I had a lawyer, like a member at the gym, write it up, you know, and just put together a basic thing like, hey, you know, where is your head at? We don't know if we're going to lose business. We don't know how long this is going to last. You know, obviously you're aware of it. Just more of that type of stuff, you know.
Well, here's a question. Did you state in your letter that your business is affected and you have no income coming in because of COVID-19?
Yeah, it wasn't stated like that. It was the first.
Right.
The first
So that's why you're getting a bill. There's a
Right.
certain thing. There's certain things that you're supposed to state in your letters when you write them originally. There's a whole list of guidelines of what to write and how to write. If you want to hit me up offline, you can hit me up. But there's a whole list. You write that list. You write it. And so here in California, the North Bay, there is some type of rent relief for people. So they are giving you rent relief, depending on your landlord. Now, I've communicated with mine, and I have worked situations out because my overhead it's huge. And so we have deals worked out and stuff like that. But I know if this persists for months, and they said that this is supposed to reoccur in the fall, I don't know how much longer I want to, how can I say, this is going to sound bad, but start digging into my personal assets to prolong a business that just, takes away from my retirement and stuff. It just, I'll find a different, I'd have to find a different path, and I don't want to think that way. That's why I'm going out doing other things, but
It is what it is.
yep. But yeah, if you state that a certain way, there should be rent relief. I know that there's some gyms out here where people are not paying rent at all.
Right.
To answer your question, Justin,
Yeah.
we emailed our landlord right away, and he owns lots of properties, so it took him a little bit to get back to us, and we just patiently waited, and he eventually got back to us, and he thanked us for being patient, and he's working with us right away.
All right, cool.
I understand you guys are one of the first businesses that have to close, and so it worked out for us.
Yeah. Mike, what about you? You do the same thing over there?
We did. Yeah, we reached out. Thank God. I guess we moved into a new place less than a year ago. So
Right.
thank God that we're dealing with this landlord compared to the last landlord.
Yeah.
But he's been very receptive. And it's just, kind of like understand, you guys were forced to shut down. We're also trying to go through the process of, the whole small business loan. So he's like, let's see what shakes out with that. So he's willing to work with us a little bit.
Yeah, I haven't got much on that front. I don't know about you, Jeb or Neil. Or
You heard the joke on the, you know that the small business loans are gone. That's gone.
Yeah.
Completely gone.
Mm-hmm.
What a fucking joke that it went to all. It didn't go to the small businesses. It went to all the fucking medium and large businesses. The verbiage in there made it seem like it was going to the small business like us. It did not at all. How is it that I was just reading just a second ago that major the steakhouse the major
Ruth Chris.
No, Ruth Chris got $89 million or no, sorry, $200-something million.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
So they get so many million per location. It's freaking ridiculous. I'm like, really? Wow. And these places already have millions of dollars. Their margin is not like our margin. As a gym owner, our margin is a lot smaller than a lot of these fancy places and stuff like that because
Yeah. It's frustrating.
All I know is
time for a walk.
Time to get my car.
Bro, I want to go sit in my car.
I'll bring my pillow in there.
Hey, here's your pillow, Neil.
Yeah.
That shit works, man. That shit works. Don't knock it. Well, again, guys, I appreciate you guys. We all appreciate you guys coming, Neil and Jen. We did a workout and we ran kind of late on it. Apparently my burpees weren't up to fucking speed, apparently, But I didn't win anyway.
Joe run out of time to talk about the burpees.
Joe beat me. No, you know what? Listen, Neil, my burpee.
Justin didn't know you had to jump.
Listen, first off, I take all criticism. It's fine. When I looked at him, I could say, okay. I looked at him objectively, and I said, you know what? I can see what people were saying, but I jumped up and back every time. My feet moved every single time. I reached hip extension. Okay.
It was like a drag.
But,
It was a drag.
but listen, you know what? Here's the deal. Okay. If you guys feel that I should be penalized, I will take whatever the consequences are. That's it.
What was the workout?
We did Castro gave it to us. 3 rounds.
Was it that one that you told me, Jeff?
Yeah.
100 dubs, 21 burpees, 3 RFTs. So
Yeah,
I mean,
that
that's
was a
a
good little.
What was your time? What
That's a good
times did you
burn.
guys get?
I did it in 5:57 or something like that. And I did 4 extra burpees.
Plus-
Neil,
plus-
I did 4
Listen,
extra.
Listen, number one, we don't want to hear you did extra burpees. That's nobody's fault. No.
Yeah.
No,
Right.
but I'm saying if I'm
I showed
penalized,
it. I didn't. So I did it. I didn't record it though.
that's all right.
That's
What was your time?
It's 5:13.
Oh, fuck you, man.
He's still kicking our ass.
You're fucking killing me, dude. You're like fucking 30
Bro,
seconds.
Honestly,
Look at. Hey,
honestly,
Justin cheated and he still didn't win. So
Yeah,
it's
I cheated.
but
Fucking
no.
cheated.
To be honest, that now you give me some weight, I'm going to get hammered. Like right now, all I do is like Cindy and like I have no weight. All I do is body weight stuff. So body weight is like the
Yeah, but-
game. You
well,
give
listen,
me a barbell, it's not going to happen.
no weight to Neil Maddox is way different than no weight to Jeff.
Yeah.
Simmons.
Yeah.
Bro, I'm,
He's like,
no, I'm
Man,
being,
315 will hammer me.
Just watched in 2017. That's 300 pounds in the 35 to 39 division. Okay, that's a little different.
Yeah, Neil. I mean, at least I can say that I beat you in the swim. That was it, though.
hey, hell yeah, bro.
One
got my
event,
ass
I
kicked.
beat you in one. I thought I might have had you in the handstand walk.
Oh yeah,
I looked
remember
over and I was
seeing
like,
that.
oh, this fucking guy, my one fucking chance. He's fucking right there. He's right there sitting on the cooler. He had like a water already. He had like 2 waters by the time I was done.
2 waters. He was
So-
probably cheering me on. Like,
Yeah, he signed autographs.
You know what the funniest part about that whole thing? So we sprint down, and then all I hear is Sean right next to me, and so we're doing those wall ball shots, and he's going to town, and then right when we turn to go kick up, you hear I like literally hear him, and then he goes, and I paused for a second. I was like, I'm not going. I'll fail right away. He goes, and all you hear is, oh fuck, and that's when I'm going, and I guess he fell down, and that's when I knew I was like, just keep going. And then I didn't even know. I thought you had me from down over there, but I had no idea.
Yeah. Steve, what did you think of the workout? You did it. You didn't have any logistic issues.
No, we were good. I mean, I jumped, which is what the rule is on a burpee. You know, I'm going to count your double unders now just to make sure you did 100.
Yeah, true.
I probably did 105.
yeah, you probably did more.
Listen, I'm opposite of what Neil's doing. He's saying he's in some great cardio shape. I'm the opposite. I'm feeling pretty strong lately, but this lung burner stuff is killing me. I mean, I had lungs for like the whole day. I had cough, and I thought I had coronavirus, man. So 6:54 was my time with 1 stumble in the first round of dubs. Otherwise, I mean, it was a good, smooth workout. But I need to get my conditioning back to keep up with you guys.
Jen, how did you do? Did you do it?
I did it. I did it this morning, and I get the idiot award because my alarm went off right at the beginning of the 3rd round, and I didn't set a clock ahead of time. I just had my phone, so I was videoing it, and I was like, I'll just go back and look at my time on the video. And then one of my kids came downstairs into the garage, and I was like, turn my video off, and he was like, Mom, it's not recording. I was like, fuck. So anyway, I was right at 5 minutes right before the last round. So I was terrible. And I tell you what, I did a workout on Saturday with single unders, and my dubs were terrible today. Like, it took me forever to figure out how to do a single under with my regular jump rope. And I messed up so many times today on double unders. It was embarrassing. And then later in the day, I did that CrossFit fundraiser workout. Again, idiot award, because I didn't realize the step-ups were not with dumbbells. So I did 2 dumbbells for all the step-ups, and I about died on that too. So it was a death kind of day for me today.
Mike, how'd it go for you?
It was miserable. I mean, my double unders were not there. I forget whatever day I did, but I got no sets unbroken. And then I attacked it wrong. I looked at it. I was pacing the burpees because I was worried about the double unders, which weren't there anyway. So I'm like, well, I should have just went faster on the double. I'm like, there's 63 burpees in that whole workout. I should have been like, all right, that's where you got to move. Me taking the extra second and a half when I jumped, every rep, that adds up. But I was 7 minutes and like 10 seconds. So
Right.
I was like, oh, maybe I'll file this away and redo it one time. But
Bob, did you do it or you were just hurting too much?
No, I did it this afternoon. I did it in 5:12.
Nice.
I like it.
That's fucking bullshit.
No, man.
He did four extra burpees.
4 extra burpees too. Hey, is it really 4 extra burpees if you didn't have any to begin with?
Listen, you know what? Listen, you guys can't watch it on your phone, first off. You got to put it on a big screen, okay? All right? You can see the – dude,
I even had my cheaters on.
It's a dark gym. There's shadows. I got dark shoes on, man. I mean, give me a break. But you know what?
That was smart.
Bob,
That was smart.
Hey,
Bob.
I just have one question. Everybody raise your hand if you've been no repped on burpees at the games ever.
Yes.
Yeah, there you go. Thanks, Neil.
I was no rep in the on the beach we had to do this beach one, and then one time, so I know what they mean when you don't jump. You need to jump, bro. So I was on the beach. It was that year I got stung by a stingray. We had the thrusters and the burpees on the beach. No, wait. I forgot which year it was, but we had the thrusters and burpees on the beach, and I got no rep for not jumping on one of them.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? What are you gonna do? I mean, I think I feel like I'm jumping. If that counts for anything,
So that's who you're judged.
Right.
Hey,
But
Justin,
hey Neil, you want to do us a favor? We're always struggling. One of the things that we do here is that we write a workout. Jeb kind of did a workout. He kind of did a workout that I was even thinking about doing, that bench press with a body weight bench press. But I'm not going to make it do it again,
Which one?
No,
one for my
we
class.
were gonna do 50 bench press for time at body weight, and every time you rack the bar, you have to do 10 calories on the bike. But
Okay, let's do it.
yeah, okay, I'm down with that. Does everybody have a bike?
I have a bike.
What do you weigh right now, Justin?
Yeah.
He said 195 last week.
I'm
A little
fat.
less than you think.
I said I'll probably weigh like 190.
So we should have a scale then present in the
No,
video.
it says
Yes.
it.
So
You have to weigh yourself right before. Look, you put the weed timer on. You say, "Hi, my name is Steve Swishstack. All right, I'm in the Masters Chatter 44-year-old division. All right, I want to see you step on the scale, load up the bar, and then do it. What are you weighing now, Steve?
I don't know, 195 like you?
Yeah, 195. You're like 6'4".
Dude, I'm 6 foot.
Everybody looks 6'4", 5'2".
Hey, when you're like 5'5", everybody's 6 foot.
When you're 5'7", man, everybody's 6'4".
Hey, so is it like 5 calories for girls?
No.
7.
All right.
Sorry,
so
Jim.
it's 9 and 7. So 9 and 7, and then 50 bench press body weight.
10 and 7.
10 and 7.
This is Kern's workout all day long. Look at the size of those arms,
This is
man.
what I'm trying. Yeah, this is my redemption.
Hey, listen, this is old school right here. Bench press and jump on that air bike.
Kurt,
Man,
what
that's
do you
scary because
What do you weigh, Jeb?
195, 197.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm fat.
Hey, so let's clarify some of the rules here real quick. Does it have to be like the pound, or is it we rounding down and up?
That's a good question.
well, the thing is,
Round.
if you're,
Here's 5
like
pounds.
for instance, if you're 202, that goes to 200. 203 goes to 205, right?
I'm
Yeah,
fair
we'll
with
go.
that.
Yeah, closest. Yeah.
Closest to a number.
I'm somewhere
Yeah.
around there.
Just so you
I may
guys
eat a
know,
little bit.
I'm going to weigh myself butt-ass naked, so be ready for that on the screen.
Yeah. We want followers. We want followers. That's perfect.
Yeah, we need it. Maybe that's a requirement.
All right. Yeah. That'll
All
be a
right, so
good one.
it's 50 body weight bench press. Every time you re-rack the bar, you got to jump on the bike for 10-7. Gotta weigh yourself.
Reset the bike each time, Justin.
Yeah, you got to reset the bike for sure. But you have to do it yourself. You don't have a judge.
You don't got to film that, right? Well, that's just on the honor system.
That's on the honor system.
All right. Except for you. We want yours filmed.
Listen,
You know,
I said I
I'll
accepted
film it
any
this time
penalty.
because
I
I'm
made it
curious.
clear. I
I'll
will
film it.
accept any burpee penalty.
So you should do 12 calories on the assault bike then.
What's that?
You should do 12 calories on the assault bike as penalty this week.
You know what? The past should not hurt me in the future. Okay, all right. So what I did in the previous year should not hurt me. But all right, let's do it. All right. Neil, like our page and do all that social media stuff for us and talk about how great we are. And we really thank you for coming on. Jen, you too.
Thanks, guys.
Who knows what this turns into, but hopefully we can start to, shed some light on some of the masters out there.
Yep.
All right.
Deal.
All right, guys.
Time to
All right,
get those
guys. Talk to
picks.
you guys soon.
Be safe, man.
Be good.
Take care, everybody.